Well, hey everybody. It's a Tuesday. I'm back home. I'm pretty happy about that. We're on time-ish. I'm just saying. Uh yeah. I'm not stuck at home, Matt. I am home until Monday. I'm not stuck. I'm just saying. Big difference. I got things to do this week. Got acupuncture. I have bee service that I got to get done. I have a graduation to go to for my grandson. I have a wedding to perform for some of our favorite people. Yeah, just a busy week that I needed to not be in a truck. So I'm not in a truck. So we're home. But I actually have something I want to talk about. But you know what? We're gonna do this first, and glad to see you guys are here. Glad you're here. We're gonna go do our quick commercials, and we'll be right back. Just running just a little bit behind. Took longer for him to get loaded today than he anticipated. Go figure. Uh, but after that, he should be here pretty shortly. So hang in there. We'll be right back.
Paying too much for trucking insurance? What if you could save more by making one simple phone call and keep more profit? You could very well do just that with one simple call to Seabright Agency, 800-366-6466. Call now.
Now here's a question that all owner-operators and small fleet owners should consider. What happens when you access the unrivaled advantages that are available through the ES Advantage program? We asked Jeff and Charley from Contractors Corner to share their thoughts on how they've been able to utilize the discounts and services that are a part of the ES Advantage.
So we started looking for a way to save money on fuel. And we were turned on to the ES Advantage program for fuel first. So we got a hold of Jeff Reese, and he ran us through that program. And man, we were starting to save. And then we started talking to them. Well, we saw their website, and we said, Jeff, what's this thing about insurance and accounting and
Right.
you lease trucks? What?
Right, and that's the thing, is we only knew it as a fuel card. And when we started digging deeper, I mean, we ended up getting hooked up with an insurance provider, Seabright Agency, and they created an entire insurance program just for us and our people. And from that, we've learned that, now there's even more potential. There's a greater opportunity, and it's completely opened up our eyes and broadened our vision into what it is we're trying to do, which is help people do better. Wrapped with the ES community just makes that process so much easier.
Now, if you're an owner-operator or small fleet owner and you would like to learn more about how you can drive savings to the bottom line of your business, the ES Advantage program has the discounts and services that deliver the kind of unrivaled advantages that are designed to help you improve your overall operation. Get connected with the ES Advantage today.
With the ES Advantage today. Hey, so we're back. I'm here still all by myself. All by myself. Anyhow, Jeff will be here shortly. Glad that you guys are here. Matt was first, Craig was second. I mean, Professor Craig Gill. And looks like James came in third. Glad to see you guys. Yeah, other people. Quick, what's going on? Jonah Green, good to see you. I saw someone else. I don't know. I lost it. Whatever. Glad you guys are here. Not whatever. You know what I mean. Trying to read. I don't know. It's just, my glasses. I need better glasses again. I don't know. Actually, I think I've been sitting in front of the screen too long today. That's legit. I do that a lot. But yeah, how you guys doing? And again, Matt, not stuck. Pretty happy. Got a busy week. Pretty exciting week, really. I get to perform Sue Smith and Grant Johnson's wedding. That's pretty exciting. Their marriage license is going to have my name on it as the officiant. So that's cool. It was just going to be like, 2 witnesses. And then it turns out that their family is going to be in town soon enough to do it. So yeah, I'm doing that this week. Thought about like just hitching them right there in the Ocala terminal. I was in there the other day, and that was cool. But Gary wasn't in the office, the terminal manager and terminal leader, boss dude. He wasn't there, and they were like, "Man, if we did that here right now, he would be very upset with us." So, and he wasn't here, so I get it. Whatever. That would have been funny though. Being like, trucker to you, yeah, all right, you're hitched. But we didn't do that because reasons. But that's cool. So what's going on out there in your guys' world? After Jeff gets here, I'm gonna play a piece of a little video here. And then I'd like to see if we can get into some of that. But what do you guys got going on this week? How's the week been going so far for you? Oh, look, it's Jenny in the waiting room. There's no video. I'm gonna throw her up. Maybe she's ready. Maybe she's not. I don't know. Hey, Jenny.
Hey.
What are you doing? Oh, look, you're in Trucker Todd's living room again. You better stop that.
I know. He doesn't know I'm using it though. Don't tell him, okay?
All right. I'm gonna send you a new background to use. It's gonna be weird.
So, what are we talking about?
Nothing right at the moment. I was just asking how people were doing, what they got going on. Waiting for Jeff to get here. I got a little clip of a video I wanted to play before I got into some questions and comments and stuff.
He's late.
Yeah, well, it took longer, go figure, to get loaded today than he anticipated.
No.
I know. And then, of course, the eastern storms. Yeah, running up that 95.
It's been raining in Mississippi for like 5 days straight. I'm sick of rain.
Yeah. He got hammered in one for like 5 miles, and then of course turned into dry pavement and opened wide up again, right? But that 5 miles was, oh my God, the world is ending. We better stop
immediately, right now, in the middle of the road.
Right? Yeah, and Tim, you ain't lying with the holiday yesterday. Like, man. And that was another so I had a bunch of loads that I could have run over the weekend before I came home, and things were getting adjusted. Like I actually accepted a load Friday. I had stacked 2, before that I'd been sent one. Hey, look. Hey now.
Oh shit.
Oh, you got no sound.
Great. That's how we like you best.
Look at that.
Wait, I think I heard him.
Yeah, you heard me.
Oh, there you are. Hey now.
You know exactly what I said. What's going on, brother?
No, same old thing, just living the dream, trying to get by. We had a broker question last week, and I didn't get it back to you fast enough, so I apologize. And I can't remember what the hell that question is. So if that person's here tonight, by all means, throw it back up there, and we'll get it to him right away.
Bring him back.
But yeah. What do you got going on, man? Good to see you. I like your background.
Thank you. I'm not living in Trucker Todd's room. I refuse to be a part of that whole swinger situation.
I don't know why. I hear he's a great guy.
I know how to get a different background, so be nice.
All right. Well, all you have to do is go in there and just pick a background. You just go to add background, pick a picture.
Yeah, there's like 3 backgrounds in here.
Yeah, like a brick wall would be good.
Okay, yeah. I got that. Hang on, I'll be right back.
Smack my head. Not much. I'm still doing, like I said, we're moving freight, and we're also talking insurance and working compliance, especially with the new Supreme Court ruling. Right. So that's not really good. But I know a lot of truckers don't understand it, but it's
you want to break it down a little bit? You and Jenny are the smart people in that world.
Yeah. So basically what the ruling did was make it where brokers are now liable for the safety of the carriers. But the problem is there's no way to determine the safety of the carriers because there's no standard guidelines, right? So I might think something's safe that you don't think is safe and she doesn't think is safe. And that puts us in a situation where I now have to do the same thing over and over and over and over and over. So if I make my guidelines and my guidelines are A, B, C, D, even though we've had a relationship and you've hauled my freight, if you fall out of one of those categories where I can't use you anymore, I can't use you anymore.
Right.
And I have to do the same thing over and over and over again. And the minute I deviate from that, I open myself up for lawsuit. Mm-hmm. So the problem is so now the standards that I'm going to have to pick, because I want to protect my company, I'm gonna, have to raise the bar, but raising the bar always isn't
Right.
always isn't the best thing.
Jeff is stuffing food in his face right now, so I'm not going to throw him on the screen yet. But
that's kind of the gist of it.
No, I dig it. It's crazy, man. Look, when the courts get involved, just saying.
Yeah, and that's kind of like I said. So is it the best idea? Nah, not so much. Not so much. But I understand that brokers should be liable. But the problem is I don't have a problem being liable. Let me move my camera so it doesn't look like I'm. There we go.
Take up the whole screen like you had a big head.
I don't have a problem being liable if there was a set standard of safety that we had, and each
uniform.
Right, and each state has an option to pick what they feel the safety is.
Right.
So, and on the FMCSA website, it says this is not for safety purposes. So it's like they're not judging safety. So now I've got to figure out what safety is. And so, and then we have the situation where, like, if you're a carrier and you're a one truck carrier, and you've gone through the scale, and that one time you went through the scale, you now have an out of service because your tires were low on air pressure.
Right.
You now have 100% out of service because you've only gone through the scale once, and the first time you went through the scale, you were basically out of service. So now, does that kick you out of me using you? Maybe. I don't know. You've got 100% out of service rate. Is that
right?
But it sucks because you have to go through it again and get it clean for it to drop down to 50. And then again, and for 25 and so on and so on. So and the system's kind of not helping the little guys.
And again for 12.5 and again for 6.25.
Right.
Correct. So the biggest thing is compliance now. So now you guys have to take a hell of a more time bringing in a better compliance to make sure that you're the best of the best of the best, sir.
I know somebody.
What?
I know somebody that can do compliance.
Yeah, we do know somebody that's been doing compliance and stuff like that. Anyways, that's what's been going on, basically.
I dig it, man. But you know what? Look, I try to be the best of the best of the best, right? I hold myself to a standard. Jeff and I both have always been kind of above and beyond, even more so when we started this channel, right? Because now we're speaking to people and we're giving our opinions, and people take our opinions and they say, well, Jeff and Charley said, right?
Yeah.
And that freaks me out. Like Jeff and I had these crazy conversations back in the day. We're like, dude, are people going to sue us for what we say? Can they sue us? What's our liability? How are we opening ourselves up? So we don't speak in absolutes when it comes to some of this stuff. Some of this stuff truly is black and white. Some of the FMCSA stuff is just crystal freaking clear.
Mm-hmm.
You can't screw it up. Well, you can if you just don't, I don't know, read words. I mean, it's tough. I get it. But we will very openly express it, when it's our opinions. And this is something that we've been doing in our operations, right?
Mm-hmm.
That it works for us. It's not the only way, it's our way. But you, in your situation, it's like, holy crap, man. Just the liability in that side of the world is getting nuts. And I think part of it's a good thing, like you said, but part of it is like, wow, where's the standard?
Right. Like, I just don't, there is no, and I tried to explain it to another guy. It's like, and I understand they're going to say, well, reasonable standard, but what's a reasonable standard if there's no standard?
Right.
Like, because my reasonable standard is going to be way different than yours, which might be different. Like, so what's a reasonable standard?
Right.
Somebody going to say, well, that wasn't good enough because there was an accident. And now I got to go to court and prove that, well, maybe it was. But then they might say, well, and it's not just for accidents of unaliving people, right? It's for accidents where, somebody gets hurts their back and it's a $50,000 payout. And now I might be liable for 10% of that or 20% of that because the jury feels I am.
Right.
Because I have no standard for them to look at and say, did he do this? Right?
Do you really think it'll be a jury of your peers in that situation? I'm just saying.
Well, I'm a freight broker and an insurance agent. There is no jury of my peers.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? There's nobody that can fall into that category with me.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So
you should call for a mistrial in that event just based on that alone.
Yeah, I absolutely should.
I feel like that's a legal foot. It probably won't work, but it'd be fun to try.
I think I think we go with it.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's
So I'm coming in a little late, but
Hey, Jeff.
what started all this?
What started this is C.H. Robinson booked a load to a carrier, and that was under a conditional status, which means that they had a bad safety score. The FMCSA went in, took a look at him, and said, "Yes, you're still good to operate, but you have to do the following things and create an action plan on how you're going to be more compliant." But the FMCSA categorized them as good. Well, that carrier went and ended up hitting somebody that he either lost a leg or I can't remember what the actual injury was, but he lost a leg. So what happened is they sued the carrier, and then the lawyer also said, well, we want to also sue the broker, C.H. Robinson, because they got a lot more money. Right? So they wanted to say, well, and according to the F4A, brokers were not liable for the driver that a carrier hires, because I can't control, the fact that, hey, all of a sudden they're a great guy, but their wife left him, so so now he's tanked and he's driving down the road. Right? I can't control certain things. And the DOT came in and said, hey, well, these guys are technically conditional, meaning they can accept loads and move freight, but they have to put an action plan in paperwork within 30 days. So C.H. Robinson hired them. Now, they probably shouldn't have, but again, the FMCSA said technically they were safe enough to haul freight, and they got hurt. So this lawyer basically pushed it up to the point where they said, we feel that you are liable for hiring these drivers. And that 4A doesn't apply to you. It only applies to airplanes, right? Basically, because it applies to airplanes, because an airplane, something happens, so something on freight or whatever, that they're not liable, stuff like that, blah, blah, blah. So that's what it was originally for, because they cross state lines when they're flying. Well, the courts basically said, no, you're liable. You are going to have to pay also if you get hurt for the safety, for the carriers that you hire if they're not safe. But the problem is, like I was telling him, is there's no safety standard. There's no safety standard. Like the FMCSA on their website says this should not be used for purposes of determining safety. This should not be used for the purposes of determining safety.
Right.
So if they don't have a standard, how do I come up with a proper standard?
Right.
That everybody agrees on? Because somebody's going to say, no, you didn't do enough.
Yeah, you can't. There's not even a place for you to say, hey, this is the program that I'm going to enact. Does this pass muster? Because nobody knows.
Correct. Nobody knows. So this is what's going on. Now, I'm not saying brokers shouldn't be liable. I feel they should. The problem is that give us a safety standard that we should be at least determining. Now, I know I go above because I do over-dimensional freight.
Right.
But the problem is that you don't trust brokers most of the time anyways, but now you're going to trust us to judge what's safe and what's not, because that's what they just did. So I would have preferred that the FMCSA come out and say, this is a standard of safety that everybody has to meet to be able to do this. Even if they said, gave us some type of variable, but they just didn't. So what you're going to have is a knee-jerk reaction for some brokers that are going to say, well, I'm not working with you unless you have 3 years in.
Right.
Or I'm not working with you if you have an out of service. So they're going to do these knee-jerk reactions to protect themselves. Or they're going to say something like, I'm not working with you unless you have $2 million in auto liability.
Yeah.
My shipper is now looking, well, they already did 2 million. My customer is now saying, unless you have 5 million in auto liability, you can't haul OD freight.
That could be a little expensive.
So it's right. So it's 2 million for legal freight right now and 5 million for OD freight.
Wow.
They don't care what the FMCSA says. They don't care. You want to haul their freight? Get the insurance. If not, they'll find somebody who will. They'll go to Miller. They'll go to Landstar. They'll go to carriers that are self-insured, and they'll work with them. If you can't get it, they'll find, because they're protecting their businesses now.
Yeah.
Well, this is kind of the knee-jerk reaction that's starting to happen. So
we can't fault them for trying to protect themselves, but at the same time, like you said, the knee-jerk reaction is never really the good one.
Because we don't know.
Right.
We have no idea how this is going to work. Like freight brokers have no idea now how this is going to work. And we have no idea how do we determine that, yes, I did the safest thing. Because somebody's always going to say, no, it wasn't enough.
Right.
You should have did
there will always be somebody.
Correct. It's because it's an armchair quarterback situation. It could be 9 months or a year later or 2 years later that we're finally in court, and they're like, well, you should have did this. Like, what the hell? Okay.
Right. You can even have a favorable video that backs everything you say in the event of something, right?
Correct.
And some group says, oh, you should have been a quarter of a second quicker on that. Your reaction time was.
I got a freight broker buddy that he's basically like, I'm going to require cameras inside and out, facing in and out, because if they're going to be hauling my freight, I want to make sure they're not watching YouTube videos. And of course, he said not watching my YouTube videos, but I think it might have been directed at a point. But no, but he did say that. Another buddy I know, because he's worried about, hey, now your driver's watching YouTube or texting on the phone or talking on the phone or not hands-free, distracted driving. You get into an accident, I'm responsible. Well, I got to cover my ass to make sure. Because that way, if I got a camera inside, I can say, sorry, he was breaking the law, officer. There's no way for me to know he was going to break the law. He was distracted driving. Now, that might protect the broker saying, I did everything I was supposed to do. He broke the law. So I think you're going to see a lot of stuff like that, too, which...
Yeah, well, we've kind of been leaning that way. I mean, we've seen it coming. Not so much the inward facing, but, the attempt was there to really push the inward facing. Definitely outward facing. I think a lot of insurance companies are going to really start pushing that way, and I get it. My problem with we're going to speak specifically about outward facing cameras, because I don't want to talk about inward facing, because middle fingers, right? Outward facing cameras. Who's watching it? Who's reviewing it? Who controls that video, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it someone who actually knows how to drive a truck? Is it someone who's right? It's never someone like that. They've never been in that seat. They're driving home, holding their phone, twirling their 45, and smoking a cigarette between these two fingers while they're twirling, right?
Right.
And driving with their knee, and they ain't got like an autopilot. I'm just saying. But then they will be absolutely quick to say, oh, your reaction time is slower than we thought it should be by 1/100th of a second. And because of that, you're at fault, and you're no longer going to be able to drive for this company because of, we think that's just a history of unsafe behavior. You didn't hit anything. Correct. You didn't even almost hit anything.
Correct.
They just saw something that they didn't like. And it doesn't even, oh my God, that's my problem. See, I am all for cameras. Jeff and I both are for having a camera to protect yourself. Right. And understand that very same camera can be used against you. Yes. So be right. Do the right thing. Be the professional.
In a court of law.
Right. They can destroy you, or they can absolutely exonerate you. And we've seen how many have been exonerated by these cameras, right?
Right.
From a legal standpoint. Civil sometimes gets a little muddied up, right? A little less requirements to prove civil wrongdoing versus legal wrongdoing. Those standards are a little bit different. And whatever, God, that's a whole nother world. But having that camera, if you think about it, and it's a good one, it'll coach you. It'll teach you to be a better driver. Sorry, Jeff.
Yeah. So one of the things about the cameras and who's monitoring them, this came up when we were at Driver Appreciation Week, 3 years ago. We were talking to the Freightliner engineers that were there on site about their cool new technology,
right?
And how you're supposed to drive with this new technology. And we said, well, wait a minute. If I drive a Swift truck the way you're describing, I'm going to get fired next week, because the camera's going to see that and say that I'm driving dangerously. Even though the computer systems and all the stuff we have is maintaining the distance that it's told to in the system.
Yeah, the Freightliner engineers set the adaptive cruise to a 3.5 or 3.6 second following distance. And the system is built to work within that time. And I've actually seen it work flawlessly in that time, right? Yeah. But our cameras were sent to like 3.8.
Yeah.
So they get less than 3.8, and these guys were getting dinged left and right. So why the hell they got this cruise system? It's crazy. But there was
Yeah,
a big
so-
fight between all them.
So, a company like Swift that got these systems in all their trucks because they said, hey, this is a much safer way to do things.
Mhm.
But you've got guys monitoring the cameras that don't get that.
Yeah.
And they're dinging guys for literally driving the truck the way it was designed to drive. Again, people that have never been in a truck, people that aren't out here day to day. The whole reason why we got outside insurance was to get away from that company monitor camera.
Right.
Right.
And we tell everybody, when you get Seabright insurance, go get yourself a decent dash cam to protect yourself.
Yeah, NARC wants maintenance mandates.
Yeah, he wants maintenance mandates, and he's taking NARC's mechanic heavy repair is now pre-booking for those maintenance.
Okay.
Yeah.
There
What's
you
up, man? But yeah, it's crazy. But in the inward thing, I got to tell you, man, I can't do it. It's not that I'm afraid.
Yeah, I just think that that's if you here's the problem. Now my company's at risk for mistakes that you might be doing. If I
Right.
can eliminate a possibility or prove that it was you that made that mistake unbeknownst to me or out of my
Right.
control, then that's what I got to do. I got to protect my company. I got to protect my livelihood from lawsuit, from stupid stuff that you, the driver, might do. You're gonna hold me
Absolutely.
accountable for it.
No, and I get that. It's just that's where they're going to smash, right?
Right.
And here's the deal. Like for me, and I can speak for my personal experience and how Rosie and I operate. We don't close a sleeper curtain. Neither one of us like to have that curtain closed when we're sleeping. We like to be able to hear whoever's driving and anything else that happens to be going on.
Mhm.
And we like the airflow and the climate control and all that sort of thing, right?
Mhm.
So if there's an inward facing camera,
We're gonna
Just
see you in
saying.
your skivvies.
they're going to see her. Nobody cares about me, but they're going to see her draws, and she ain't going to be happy about it.
No,
Just
I
saying, 'cause
understand. Like
you
I
know.
said, it's just
me, you mandate me to have an inward facing camera, and I am.
And he's gonna
dancing
put in a
naked.
pole and a disco ball. And it's gonna be on like
Abso-freaking-lutely.
Donkey Kong.
I'm going to make you want to not watch what's going on in my truck, right, with me, because I am shaking bits. That's all I got to say.
I might just become a nudist.
You know what I mean? I mean, God, nobody needs to see us naked. I don't care what anybody says. Jeff and I naked, it ain't pretty.
Especially together.
Oh,
Not that we know anything about that.
right. I'm just what's that about the hot tub? We never did put those pictures up.
No, we didn't.
That's probably a good thing, I still think. But yeah, I don't know.
We were
Hey,
talking
let me
about
play this video real quick because I think this kind of plays into what we're kind of on real fast. So let me find out how to push these right buttons. Screen share. Screen share. This one. Yes, I like that one. Share the audio. This is a terrible first what you call it? The very first picture in this video. I stopped it at the very beginning because I only want to play the first few seconds. But this is great. Anyhow, it's that DOT cop. Love this dude. I really like his channel. I think he's doing really good things out here. But anyhow, let me throw this up here. Hopefully you can hear it. I'll try and shut up so that it comes through a little bit better. I don't know.
Truck drivers, within just the last several days, we've seen the trucking company hit with a $49 million verdict after serious allegations of ELD violations or hours of service violations. We've seen FMCSA remove 12 more ELDs from the approved ELD list, and we've even heard of a fatal altercation at a Love's truck stop. And honestly, so many of these stories should be a huge wake-up call for the trucking industry, because right now, trucking is under pressure from every single direction. Drivers are stressed, companies are stressed, enforcement is increasing, lawsuits are increasing, and one mistake can literally change your life as a driver forever. And I'm not trying to be dramatic, but that is the simple truth. So in today's video, we're going to simply break down what's really happening in trucking right now, why these stories and things matter, and what drivers like you can actually take away from this. So
Oh, look, and I stop it again on another great picture. If this guy sees this, he's gonna stab me in the
never
face.
coming on the show, man. After this,
Right, my bad. I was not intentional. The first frame was great. But yeah, so there was a $49 million settlement recently, right? Because a lady driver, and it has nothing to do with being a lady. It's just part of the story. It was a lady driver who violated the. It appears to me that it was a Texas-based thing. She violated the 12. She violated the 15 with an 8-hour break mandatory. So sounds like Texas to me. It could be a couple other states actually. And it may have actually said in the video. I just don't recall. Anyhow, and hurt people. $49 million settlement. You know, you're muted.
I'm sorry, muted. This is what we're now getting, right? These are the things that are now happening,
right?
As decisions drivers are making or companies are making and things like that. These are because if you ask yourself, what is, I don't know if you guys have kids or whatever, but what happens if one of your, how much are you suing for if one of your kids ends up losing a limb, a leg, can't walk, not even unalive? How much is that child? How much is that worth?
Right.
I mean, good luck. I mean, because like I said, if something were to happen to my wife because of this, I'm telling you, I'm going to be sitting with that lawyer telling him how the system, how the trucking company works. And I'm going to be picking through you like fine tooth comb and dragging that stuff out and showing it to the lawyer.
Right.
Just good luck. I'll find it, from everything I know. But
and then I'll find them through a really nice optic down the road. I'm just saying.
Allegedly in a video game.
Allegedly.
Basically, I mean, this is the stuff that what's it worth? And we're finding out that companies are making a lot of money, and some people are taking some of these things for granted and hurting people.
Right.
And we're finding out that that's becoming more and more expensive.
Well, when I was training new drivers, and I'm sure Jeff had a similar criteria, I did not sign off on anybody if I didn't feel like I was comfortable with that person that I was training could drive down the highway next to my wife, my kids, now my grandkids, in a vehicle next to them, and me feel safe with that.
Yeah.
And have absolutely no problem with that.
Right.
That was the standard. I had to have absolutely zero reservations.
Right. And I remember being trained by Schneider, and I had a good trainer, and back then it was a good process. It's not the same. I don't know about Schneider. Train's not the same. But when I left, I went to school with a B. I got my A. I trained with a trainer for 3 months where we did not team drive. We drove. I had to sit in the seat. We had to drive all that stuff. Then from there, I drove with one of the students that I drove before, and we kind of supered. We didn't truly team. We super stuff. You know what I mean? Like if we had to bring it in. And then I never teamed. Then I got my own truck. Okay. But when I first came on there, and this is some of the conversations I have, it pisses some people off, but I'll say it. I don't feel that you should if you have proper training, I don't feel you have to be able to read every single sign. I think that if you have proper training, and my evidence of that is when I first started, I went from Buffalo, New York to Quebec and back. And Quebec in French, and I don't read French, and I never got to it. But I knew before I got over the line, I would pull over and be like, okay, I've got to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 exits.
Right.
And then I go turn left, and I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, street number 6, and turn right. Right. And if something was flashing or something was going on, I was already doing 55, so there wasn't much slowing down. But I would slow down, right? If I didn't know what was going on, I would slow down. And I've had this conversation with people that they're like, well, the sign that says, winter weather advisory. I'm like, well, if you don't know that there's a winter weather advisory, you shouldn't be driving truck. You don't need a sign to tell you that. Yeah. You need proper training, but you don't need a sign to tell you that, right? You don't need a sign that says slow down or move over because they have arrows. But if you see barrels or cones or orange things, you slow down. You don't need signs to tell you that. So for the longest time, I think that we have poor training over everything.
Oh, I agree.
Over everything. It's poor training first. Because even if you don't speak the language, if you have proper training, you should be able to handle almost every situation, right? Yeah. To be honest. And that's kind of what like I said, when I was looking at that and I'm looking at drivers, for you to come out of school and just start team driving, full team.
Oh, team
driving, with a carrier is out of my mind. It's out of control. What are you doing? How is that training? Like
Right.
I was 3 months with a trainer, and then a super solo basically with another student that I went to school with, and like I said, and that I don't know.
No, I actually like a model like that, honestly. The reason I had a falling out with the head of safety back in the day, which was when Rosie went through. So 8, 9, 10 years ago was the last time I trained a student driver at Swift. I had come up with a schedule and a system where we were averaging about 900 miles a day.
Mhm.
Yet the student was never alone.
Correct.
Right. I got up crazy early and I started driving. They needed the hours to get their training. So I drove until they woke up. Not my job to wake them up.
Right.
Set an alarm. You're going to have to figure out how to wake yourself up when you need to get up. Right.
Mhm.
And when they woke up, they'd pre-trip. If it was too early, I would actually have them, we'd hit a rest area, let them use the restroom, do a pre-trip, and I might drive for another 2 hours.
Right.
But their pre-trip is done now. We could get down the road to another rest area or something like that, grab a snack if that's what they need to do, and boop, switch seats. Now I'm in the passenger seat.
Yeah, and that's what we did. Like I said, me and a trainer, we just drove like we only had one logbook.
Yeah.
And after that, it was okay. Meet up with a student that we went to school with, and we knew who it was going to be. Like we talked about it before, and then we met up with him, and then we super soloed. We never really truly teamed. Like I didn't have to sleep.
Right.
You know what I mean? I just had to, I got to switch. I'm out of hours, bro. It's your turn. Finish up.
Yeah.
A couple hours. And then I'd switch into the seat and be, in the seat. And then and then I think that was more for knowing what we were comfortable with and having a second set of eyes if we weren't.
Right.
Right. And you eventually until you were that comfortable that you were like, okay, I got this. Or I got to get out myself. And I think it also trained me because, damn it, he's not with me. I got to get out myself. God damn it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because before he was getting out, now they pulled him away from me. Now I got to get out and do it all. And I think it eventually trained me that somebody's got to be outside. So it's either me or him. But if he's not in the truck, I guess it's me. And I just felt that I became a very good driver. I never had an accident.
Right.
I eventually drove for U.S. Food Service in Buffalo, New York, in all types of weather. And but to me, that was training.
Yeah.
To go right to teaming that's crazy.
That's why I left. They were telling me at the time, well, you need to team more. I'm like, we're still doing 900 miles a day. And the truck is parked 8 hours every single day, not moving. We can shower, we can eat, we can sleep, we get all the rest we need. For 2 hours a day, I was literally in the sleeper berth, sitting on the bunk, curtains open, maybe reading a Facebook post or something like that, or reading a book, or listening to a book because I don't read books. But I was available. All I had to do was say, "Hey, Charlie, bam, I'm right here, bro. What's up?"
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
And that's how we operated. And they said that wasn't enough. So I told them, pound sand. This is Rosie's my last student, and whatever. Then they changed all that, and I don't know. It feels like they're slipping kind of back towards that now again, but whatever.
Yeah, and so I think that was a big factor. If you want better drivers, you got to have better training.
Yeah.
Well, you remember, Charlie, that there was a time in our world, in owner-operator land, where recruiters would tell you, man, you got to train.
Yeah.
If you're going to make money as an owner-operator, you got to train.
Yeah, you got to get them in there and team them.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to train. I remember because eventually they can eventually go to people that are good. I'm like, I don't want to train. I don't want to train. I'm too, bro. I'm like 22 years old.
Right.
I mean, come on. I don't want to do that. I don't want that responsibility.
Yeah.
And to me, it was like, and then the other aspect is like, well, if I'm training, it's going to take down, I'm going to drive less because I'm going to have to be training more. I'll be less money. I'm fine.
Right.
And from experience, if people don't want to train, don't make them train because they're shitty trainers if they don't want to train.
Yeah, and I didn't want to train.
Well, they're usually trainers for the money, right?
Right.
We've been saying for years.
We have guys that are literally using students to pay their lease payment. That's the only reason they do it.
And without it, they couldn't because they don't run a business.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And I don't. And I think Prime. I don't know if they're still doing it, but when we knew somebody at Prime, the Prime trainer has to pay the trainee.
That's a fair.
right? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So at that aspect, it's like, okay, I don't know how that works, to be honest. You know what I mean? I don't know how many miles are we getting in to for me to cover your pay. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. But I've never trained to know if that's a good model or not, to be honest.
I think it's absolutely a viable model, and I think that it puts. See, it could go either way, though, right? Because if the guy's not running his business well, then he's going to be pushing that guy, exceeding his limits.
Yeah.
If he is a good trainer, he can make money for both of them.
Yeah. So that's the other model. I don't know, and I'm not. Anyways, that's the craziness for me. And like you said,
but yeah, I mean, we've been saying for years. Sorry, go ahead.
I mean, I think freight brokers need to be trained too. So don't be yelling at me in the chat if you think I'm picking on drivers. I think freight brokers are the dumbest people on the planet. Some of them on the phone. So
yeah, yeah. But we've been saying for years, crappy mentors chase the money, whereas money follows the good mentors.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
You know what I mean? It got to a point where I wasn't thinking about the money I was making. Yes, it's great. It is wonderful to have that little bit of extra income. Mm-hmm. But Jeff and I both truly love teaching people. Yeah. I got that bug in the Army, giving those little classes that we did, hey, this is how we're going to tie our boots today. Or, this is how you break down an M60 machine gun. And this is the proper way to clean it and whatever. Right. Yeah. And I love that stuff. It was fun. And then, I got out very young and when I got into trucking, and I had a really good trainer, well, from an old school standpoint, at FFE. Taught me all the ways to really get out there and make money, right? But was all about safety and really taught me how to work and operate a commercial motor vehicle. Then I was out for a little while because I hated the whole triple logging thing because that was not okay with me. I got out for a while and I came back to Swift, and then I had this mentor at Swift. And I thought he was the biggest piece of garbage on the planet. But this is the guy that was training me. And he made me want to become a trainer because if he was representative of what was out there for people like me, or worse, young people coming in and thinking this is the reality of the world, then I want to do what I can to stop that from happening.
Right.
Because he's creating killers and doesn't know it. Or does know it and doesn't care.
Right.
I'm betting on the second.
Yeah. And he was absolutely all about the money. It was money for him, period. Like when he got me and found out later that I had driving experience and he could just turn me loose. Oh man, this guy was happy as a clown. Because we burned up some miles and I went out for the whole back then it was 42 days that we had to do consecutive or total. And I did it consecutive. I'm like, man, I'm not going home till we're done, period. So I hope you ain't either, because I got, if that's the problem, I'll find someone else, whatever, But yeah, after that, man, I was like, there's God. I had completed the mentors. There was a little test and application process before I ever got off of his truck. And they're like, bro, what's wrong? I'm like, look, it's already there for when I do qualify. How's that? Because this guy sucked.
But anyway, what was today's topic? Do we even know? Oh, open up.
I was going to say that, I really enjoy training. That's why I like to work with my carriers. I do collections for it, training them how to be able to spot those double brokered loads, or I work with the compliance and training them to be better at their compliance and whatever. I just like to see people do better. And I had a boss when I first started working, on my very first job way back, making $4.25 an hour. And he used to say anything worth doing is worth doing right the first time.
Right.
If you got to redo it, you're just wasting time. And so I always tried to do the best I could the first time.
I had a guy that I trained, and it's not like my own horn tooting thing, but this was probably the greatest impact that I found out I had on anybody. This guy was given to me. I was his fourth mentor. He had major stress managing issues. He was under an extreme pressure to take care of his family. He was the only income, lived way out in the middle of nowhere, Oregon. no hopes where he was at, and they couldn't move out of there for whatever reason, whatever, right? I was his only hope. And the dude flipped out on me one day. Long FedEx parking lot. It was empty, dude. It was like, I don't know, it had to be at least 10 acres. And there was like 5 trailers in this dirt lot. And he could not back up across this lot to get into a spot semi-straight with any of the other trailers on the yard, right? So I'm like, bro, and I'm trying to coach him through it. And he's just stressed out and he's gripping, and you can see it. Every moment of this guy's day was always just, right? And he yelled at me. And I pulled the brakes and I got him out of the truck. Said, if you're going to yell at me, we're going to throw hands. I'm not trying to ruin you. I'm trying to save you. He did better from that point on. We got through the training and I felt comfortable with him behind the wheel. I never heard from the guy again. Not a peep. I saw him about a year and a half later. He walked up to me. He said, I was like, and he was like, hey, what's going on, Charlie? And I was like, whoa, this is weird. This guy was not like this at all. He was always really quiet, pissed off, and serious, whatever. Just looked like he was a stress monster, right? And he explained to me that all of the things that were now going on back then, and the fact that I saved his life and his family's ability to exist, because he was on the verge of not being on the planet. If this didn't work, he was out. And he was the only one that could provide for his mom and some other people in the family. And I was like, wow, that's kind of cool, right? You know what I mean? So that just, I mean, that one really kicked me. Because I used to tell people, that dude hated me. He hated me. They're like, really? He's such a nice guy. And I'm like, we have not met the same person. Because that guy, I mean, the only things that came out of his mouth were like, God, right? And when I found out later what it was, I was like, man, totally worth the headaches, the stress that I created for myself and all that sort of thing. I just love training. But when, you know, it got to the point where I didn't agree with the company's policy, that's when I was out. And that's how I got into talking to contractors. I had to find another release, another avenue, you know, to share knowledge and learn. I love to learn. I want to learn something every day. And I love to teach. And if I can teach someone how to do something, man, that's awesome. You know, I got a couple of million-mile drivers out there that I was able to train. And I'm like, look, these are cool. You know, drivers that are out there with 1 million miles now, buying houses and things like that for them and their families. I'm like, man, this is awesome. So, you know, now I'm trying to do that with contractors, and it's a little harder sometimes. Some people are, sometimes it's worse to deal with people that have been trucking for a while. Just saying.
True. True.
You know,
most drivers that I talk to get in a rut, man.
Mm-hmm.
Whether they're on the, whether they own their own carrier, whether they're owner operators or company drivers. Hey, it's been working for 10 years. Why would I change anything?
Right.
You know, it is working, and they really aren't interested in doing anything different that might be better than what they've done in the past. It's kind of a weird. We're a weird group, man. Truck drivers.
Yeah. A lot of we either have 20 years of experience or we have 1 year experience 20 times.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, and with all the safety and compliance stuff, I mean, I've always kind of been big on that stuff because I like to read that kind of stuff. It's so readily available. I mean, I used to keep the big green book in the truck all the time, right? And I'd highlight stuff and that was super important or really pertained to us OTR type people, right? There's a lot of stuff that doesn't pertain, but it gave you the explanations of things. Mm-hmm. It broke down the intent behind the legal wording, the opinions, that the real decisions were made off of. And so I used to keep that damn book, and every time it was updated, I went out and bought a new one.
Yeah.
Oh, here, Charlie, did you see that text I sent you the other day?
Probably.
Is it legal, according to FMCSA, to put a recap tire in the steer position?
No.
No.
Yes, it is.
I say no.
I wouldn't.
Really?
Where's
Did
my
that
phone?
change?
Unless you're driving a bus, you can't do it on a bus. You can do it on a
I
Class
know you
8
can
truck.
do it. I remember you can't do it on a bus. I think I remember that because I have my passenger endorsement. I think I remember that.
You know, it's the weird little things, and you don't know what you don't know because you know what you think you know. Because you heard it at the lunch counter. It must be true because there was 10 guys saying the same thing.
And the problem is too is trying to get people to understand compliance, trying to get people to understand that, hey, let me explain something to you. Nobody wants to talk compliance. Everybody wants to leave the office when people talk compliance. But
right.
If you were to understand that having a better compliance company can literally take your insurance from $2,500 a month to maybe $1,000 a month. It's like,
right.
What do I have to do? It's like, for me, it's like these guys are running red, right? All across the board in regards to out of service and stuff. And then they want cheap insurance. And they're
right.
my insurance is killing me. I'm like, well, you know why? You're an unsafe carrier. You're a risk. You're a danger to an insurance company. You can't control your
danger
company.
to society.
Right. You're not monitoring your drivers out of service. You're not monitoring your maintenance. You're not doing this. Why would anybody give you cheap insurance?
Right.
And it's like, and you do realize that, you know, and this is the biggest problem too, is that the guys who don't understand, here's what I see. Here's what we actually see in insurance, which their studies have been done. From 1 to 5 trucks, they don't care as much about compliance at all. Once they break that 5 truck and they say to themselves, and they start to go 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, they want compliance because they know the importance of saving money so that they can grow their company.
And the liability of it.
Yeah. And they understand the difference between saving $1 and making $1.
Right.
So save me $1,500 a month on my insurance per truck. I'm going to go ahead and do that.
Yeah.
But it's amazing how people get stuck and they can't get past 3 trucks or they can't get past 4 trucks because they don't understand that the next step is to get your insurance price down. And to get your insurance price down, you want the best compliance. You want
Well, we're aware of people that have rates in the high 2% rate,
mm-hmm.
and we are aware of people that are paying more than 10%.
Oh yeah,
right.
All based on that, on safer and all of those metrics.
I'm going to tell you what it's
that
based
have
on.
to do with compliance and safety.
It's based on how good your agent is and how well they sell you to the underwriters.
Well, that's another thing too. Yeah, the more I can basically sell you to an underwriter, the better. Like if I can say, because remember, and if anybody's watching for insurance, an underwriter knows you're going to mess up. They know you're going to make mistakes. They know you're going to get tickets. But if they want you to make sure you know why you got that ticket,
right?
And how you're going to fix the problem so it doesn't happen again. And it's a lot of AI letters we write, basically saying, "Yep, we're fully aware of this. Here's what we're going to do to fix it."
Right.
And that shows an underwriter that okay, they're a safe bet. I mean, it's a gamble, and I've got to sell them a safe bet. That's what this whole process is. That's the game we play. So, if you can do that, you get better rates. If I can pull you away from people, and your agent wasn't completely horrible before me, which I ran into that problem.
Yeah,
but that happens too.
Say it ain't so.
But that's basically the gist of it. But if you can improve your insurance, and you guys talk fuel economy, you make how much more money getting better fuel economy?
For real,
right? Yeah. And how much more money are you going to make with a better compliance for better safety?
Right. And if you're not getting pulled in all the time because you have top 2% of your or top 25% of your drivers are causing everybody else to get pulled in.
Right.
Yeah. I'm stuttering here. There's some wrecks out there driving down the road when it comes to safety and compliance.
You know that DOT cop, his YouTube channel.
Yeah.
He just put one out about the Blitz.
Yeah.
And the pictures and the stories.
Yep.
Oh my God.
Yes. And I think I'm gonna reach out to him, see if I can get him on.
I would love to get him on myself because I've been pushing his channel, God, since I first realized he was a thing.
All right, well, I'll email him. See if we can get him.
He's listed in all of my descriptions for like the last year as someone that, you know, a trusted source. I can't remember how I word it.
It does.
Love that dude. I would love to do something with that guy.
Tell you what, Mike, you're a genius. You're a genius, Mike.
Yeah, right.
State compliance and insurance doesn't just empty offices; it also empties YouTube channels. You're right. Nobody wants to hear it.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and we've talked before about, when carriers and brokers go to Broker Carrier Summit, when they get to that safety module or whatever, the whole room clears out and everybody goes outside and smokes and gets a drink and gets a coffee and whatever and comes back in. That's the most important segment, and everybody should be sitting in there. It should be required that you can't.
Well, during that. Our dude Tony says it all the time to people. Nobody wants to sit down and drink a beer and talk insurance. Right?
Sage does.
Yeah, but
I would. I absolutely would, because I'm
You're weird like that. I get it.
According to Narc, I'm a nerd. So
yeah.
That's just it. Nerd guy.
Wrestler.
Everybody knows
Narc
that
sent him.
nerds make more money.
Hey, Bressler.
Narc sent him. Yeah.
Bressler.
I know who you are, Wrestler.
So if anybody's interested,
you
by
can
the
just say
way,
you're here for us, man.
He's here for
if anybody's interested, by the way, it's CFR 393.75 that talks about tires.
And there you go.
I actually came because I thought there was a broker question from last week I missed. So is the broker guy here? What was the question? Anybody know?
We were asking how this Supreme Court ruling was going to affect your business.
Oh,
look at that.
And that's why you came on here today. So
if you're a carrier, you got to look at it as shippers and brokers are now more risk is on their company. So they're going to have to now to determine what safe is and what safe isn't, which kind of sucks. Because if the FMCSA doesn't know, how you expect me to know? So obviously our insurance is going to cost more, which is going to eventually also make your insurance cost a little bit more, because we are also additionally insured sometimes under you guys. So that means your legal fees, which is a part of your insurance quote, it goes towards legal fees. You'll have to be fighting some of the broker stuff too. So it's all around. It's going to be bad for the industry financially until it's
Take
stable.
that, Wrestler.
But
he said he was only here for Jenny, so I timed him out.
Good.
I can't believe you did that.
I did.
Yeah. Look at that, 24-hour timeout.
Yeah, it was only 10 seconds.
Yeah.
But whatever. You get the point. Don't make me go 9 days or something weird. Just saying. It's okay. I can't help it.
What's Margarita? Hello, I'm reaching out because my fiance has been incarcerated for months over a hemp transportation case, and we believe there are important details the public should hear.
All right.
Okay, share it. Let's hear it.
Well, bring it.
Cast X, so we'll talk all about it if you want.
one of the things you said, Sage, when I was just coming in, I thought was interesting because most of our friends, our circle of influence and all that stuff are all one truck guys.
Mhm.
We know a few guys that are up to maybe 5 trucks,
Mhm.
but not too many people above that. So
Right.
you were saying that, and this was something that came up when CSA first started scoring safety to begin with. So one truck guy gets pulled in, he gets a bad inspection, and his numbers are like freaking through the roof.
Right.
Swift gets a bad inspection, and it goes.
Correct. 100%. Yeah.
So
and
it's really going to harm the smaller guys much more than the bigger guys, as far as the ability to get
the
free.
system is broke because, like I explained to you, it's based on averages, right? You drive through a scale. It's your first time through a scale. You get it out of service for low tires. You fill those tires up because you got a compressor on the truck, and you put the hose on, fill it up. You guys know what I'm talking about. And you're driving down the road, but you stood. That's 100% out of service because you've only gone through the scale one time, and that one time you went through the scale, you were out of service.
Right.
So now I look at that and I use something like search carriers, and I can see it's red all the way across. So am I supposed to deem you as an unsafe carrier? I guess. You know what I'm saying? I guess. So I don't know.
Hey, here's one for you, Sage. Maybe you can touch on. This dude says, I currently haul for a small company. He owns a truck. They pay 80% of the broker's rate. I talked to Landstar guy. He says he gets 65% of the shipper's rate and says he makes more money. What's the difference of a broker rate versus a shipper's rate?
Okay, so a lot of first of all, I used to be a Landstar agent, so I know how I was a Landstar driver too, so I know how that system works. So a lot of freight on the Landstar board is broker freight. Because a Landstar agent can go to a broker, pull the freight from the load board, and put it on their board, and that's all they see. So be careful with that. So the shipper rate, like when I go to a shipper, and I've showed these numbers before, I'm 18%. last year. I make 18%. So I'm anywhere from 20 to 18%. I think the year before when I showed my numbers and I did the math, I'm 18%. So it all depends on what's going on with the shipper. It's very difficult to know what the shipper's rate is because they could be doing a cost plus, which means whatever the truck costs plus their rate. Their rate could be a volume-based rate, meaning if they give me more freight, I can drop my rate down to 15% instead of 18% or whatever, and things like that. The rate could also be include things like some of my rates include technically I'm billing the customer for the crane, right? Because I got to pay the crane. So you might see a rate of 65%, but that's not just for the truck or mine. I got to go pay the crane. So or police or bucket trucks. So my rates are a little bit different. So I might bill $100,000, but the truck's getting 50 because I got to pay additional money to the police officers and the bucket trucks and the escorts. So it's kind of very difficult to know. Permits, right? So usually the truckers pay the permits, but and the escorts I cover like bucket trucks and police.
Okay.
Because I'm billing the customer outside of that. So it's hard to say what rate should pay. I think on average, C.H. Robinson does 15%. Again, their van. I do overdimensional freight, like 20 foot tall, 20 foot. So I'm 18% because there's a lot more shit that goes into mine, and I do a lot of stuff.
Right.
But my wife runs it now. She was a Landstar agent also. So it's hard to say. You're going to see some loads that are 40% because they were able to pull that number. But then you're going to see some loads that were 4%.
You're going to see some that they don't make any percentage on because
they don't make any percent. I've never lost money, lucky me, but I have done loads for free, to be honest.
Just to get the customer sometimes.
20 years of doing it, yeah, because it was my mistake. So
and there's also sometimes you can have a customer that's got these lanes or whatever. They add another facility, and that facility might be hard to get in and out of. People might not like to go there. It might be in a place that you got to back in from the road or something, and they're not good backing, so they don't want to take it. And so you may eat some money on that to get a carrier to get in there. And so you got to make it up somewhere, folks.
Right. And so so again, I don't broker transparency thing. I've been with the same carriers for years. So I don't feel it's an entitlement. I feel it's earned when you've worked with me enough, right?
Right.
Now I've got carriers that I'm like, hey man, what do you need for this? Well, I need $3,000. All right, I'm going to go in for $3,850. I'll call you right back. Right. I mean, but that's because I've worked with these carriers. I trust them. They've been, over 10 years. I don't think broker transparency should be given to somebody I have no idea who you are, or even if you're any good at what you do.
Right.
And now you want to know what I'm charging when you don't even know, and it won't help a carrier. But eventually, like I said, the best thing, well, now it's compliance. It used to be relationships, but now it's compliance. Right. And I did a video on that. But so I apologize. I'm probably dancing around things, but it's a very hard question to answer because I don't know. You don't ever know what's going on behind the scenes of that rate. Is there warehousing in that rate? Is there a cross dock situation in that rate? So it's hard to say. But if it's just a profit, I do 18%. I've said that before. Last time I checked, I'll run last year and see what it said.
I think that's a good. Hey, thank you. I think that was pretty damn clear, if you ask me. As clear as mud can be, right? I mean,
yeah.
Interesting story. Margarita's trying to tell. I would need to see more of the article. The little bits here are. We had BOLs, COAs, hemp license, law enforcement letter, and they took 15 boxes. Having back in April 1st, 2025. Now we have warrants out for Jesus. They put out in January 26th, a year later, because the shipper is suing the state of Oklahoma. That, I don't know. Every state is weird with the hemp stuff too.
Yeah.
I mean, like legit.
4 trucks. I got 4 trucks, but my problem was finding drivers. Yeah, finding drivers is a massive problem because another thing people don't think about is those drivers could destroy your company. You really have to make sure you understand that. That one driver can go out and get a bunch of violations and a whole bunch of other services, and now your compliance is
freight guard reports,
and now your company is crap, and you can't just go start a new one anymore. Okay,
right.
So everybody better be doing a very good vetting process and hiring process for drivers. They'll crush you.
Yeah, that's insane. Hey, I got to do our quick break. We'll be back in 50 seconds, y'all. 50 seconds. It ain't that long. Just bear with me.
All right.
Bam. You're either running your business like an owner or like an employee. And if you're stuck in that employee mindset, you're leaving money on the table. Company drivers wait for direction. Business owners create opportunities. Company drivers chase miles and just drive. Business owners chase profits and know their numbers. Want to run a real business? Start tracking your numbers. Know your cost per mile and start saying no to bad loads. Drop I run a business in the comments if you're done thinking like an employee. If you want to take this mindset shift further, join the Road Warrior Entrepreneurs community at www.rwedrive.com, where we have profit boosting strategies, coaching calls, and real road warriors winning together.
Was it 50 seconds already?
Look, it goes by. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I keep trying to figure out where 54 years went.
God, you're old.
38 might be low for oversized. 38 what? I don't know what he means by that.
James speaks in riddles all the time. He confuses the hell out of us. It's fun to try and cipher his crap, his stuff. My bad.
The eagle
I don't know.
landed. The bird was red. The tree was bare. And
Bird is the word.
and transmission.
Bird is or bird. Sorry.
Yeah.
Stop. You can't do things
Squirrel.
like that.
Squirrel. So that's kind of that's the gist of it.
You're gonna get us put in YouTube jail, Charlie.
Yeah, I know.
No, I'm not playing copyrighted stuff. I can sing it myself if I want to.
Yeah, I'm in.
Something
jail.
like that. I got a migraine coming.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Go
We'll see
shoot
if
yourself.
It requires a shot or not.
Email me at sageoutcast.com. I'll read your article.
Hey, when you get it, pass it on to me.
Yeah, I'll send it over to you.
Oh God, it is hot back here in this room, man. Oh wait,
Because you
I
have a
can sit down.
migraine.
It'll be cooler. That will be better. I forgot to put the desk down in the break. That's usually when I go down. That's funny. Dad did not. Don't stop it.
Man down. What cigars you smoking there, brother?
Right now these I'm smoking budgets. Factory smokes. They make a good budget cigars.
You roll your own yet or what?
Oh hell no, I wish. I don't have that kind of one, I don't have that kind of dexterity. And two, I ain't got that patience, bro.
Jenny, can you put my email in the chat?
No, it doesn't let me, but I can do.
I think you're a mod, right?
I don't want to put anything up there. Oh, Charlie, put my stuff across the bottom so that she got my. You
Tell you
got
what,
my
type something in there real quick so I don't have to search you out. I'll make you a mod. I don't mind that.
You just blah.
Yes, it was.
No, I'm not. There you go. There you
Right? Blah.
go. Mod me out.
Yeah.
Mod me out. Make me cool.
Put user in timeout ban. Oh no, that is moderator. My bad. There you go. Oh wait. Manage monitor.
You're restricted by management. You are not the manager of this channel.
Standard.
Save. There you go. You got it. Thank you. Brain. Word.
Perfect. Look, it worked. Okay, Sage at sageoutcast.com.
Yeah.
She can type.
So yeah, send it to those.
I already thought you were a mod, so that'll work. Besides that, what do you guys?
DJ with the freaking lobsters. Stop it, man. God, that's been a long ongoing thing.
He likes lobster, huh?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if that's because I'm from Maine. No idea.
I made a comment about lobster physiology like 3 years ago when we first started the show, and it just comes up again every once in a while.
See? Yeah, that's the thing. I know how to measure them with my measuring thing because we had to measure them in the Coast Guard.
I have a funny way to measure them. Doesn't count. A little risky.
No, we weren't
As
doing
I
that.
said with your thingy. Oh. Guys, I swear.
Doesn't that take all day, though, Charlie?
Yes, sir. Unless they're babies. What? Never mind. Sent to Sage from Tick LLC. Tick tick. That's a funny
Just
one.
Tourette's.
Oh,
It's not a funny thing.
This migraine's gonna whoop my ass pretty soon. I can feel it coming. So
We
Jeff,
need to wrap
run
this
through.
up then.
It's whatever. Oh, lobster's terrible.
I like it.
I
I
like
don't want to know
lobster.
about their sex life.
I used to love Red Lobster when they had Krabby Mondays, and you could go and get all you could eat crab for $19.99.
Because you are crabby. What?
I ain't a little crabby.
I don't know. That's what Narc said. Narc said it must be true. Whatever. Hey, if you guys got any questions, by all means, please throw them up, and we will jump in them best that we can, or we'll make something up probably. I mean, I'm just saying.
If anybody has any unpaid freight invoices or needs to have compliance and
Right.
safety
Look,
done, or
I-
needs insurance.
I could do the smart thing and put Jenny's little banner up now too. Look, there it is. Oh,
There it
all the way
is.
to get over. And she does work with Sage as well. I'm just saying.
Sometimes I work against him. It's more fun.
No, I was going to say something totally inappropriate, and I stopped myself. Jeff,
Good.
You should be proud.
See, Donna, he can stop if he wants to.
No, it was like the migraine helped because I'm slower to process. Oh, good God. The world is broken. I sent to Jennifer too. Okay, cool.
Yep, I got it.
Yes, I don't like lobster in any way, shape, or form, honestly.
Does the story come out?
It's terrible. Jeff, what else you got going on? Or Sage or Jenny or whatever. Help me.
I'm dealing with the East Coast I-95 weather right now.
Oh, that's so much fun.
Frickin' man. Going through Richmond is why I was late to the show today. Just
Makes
a
sense.
torrential downpour for about 5 miles.
Hey, brother.
Yeah,
Thanks for having me on. I'm gonna grab something to eat there.
All right, dude. Thanks, Sage. Appreciate you, brother.
Bye bye.
Do you want me to read some of this article so we know what we're talking about? Or we don't really care.
Sure.
Okay. Let's see. Today, on account of one of those loads, Barnes is locked up in Canadian County, Oklahoma, after an arrest in Arkansas in March. Charging documents show a count lodged by the state of Oklahoma against Barnes of trafficking illegal drugs. Charges stem from an early 2025 stop of Smith & Barnes Sprinter and seizure of 15 boxes of THCA-infused products derived from legal industrial hemp, according to the load's broker, Fide Freight, and its shipper, who is suing the state of Oklahoma and local officials over the seizure. Barnes is a preliminary court hearing now twice pushed back, set for May 27th. The 24th of May marked 3 months in jail for the owner-operator. Congress began to change the game around legal hemp with November 25 legislation. Unless legislatures modify it, new standards for hemp-derived products go into effect this coming November. Let's see.
The problem there is going to be that it matters what the law was at the time of the offense.
Right.
Right.
That's a bummer.
So I don't keep up on this stuff, Charlie. Is industrial hemp still kind of wonky legally?
Very controlled.
Huh.
Like
Because, in
Florida,
Oregon, for years and years and years, there's that dude on Hawthorne Avenue. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but
yeah.
his entire clothing line was made out of hemp, and he was all about how
Yep.
green it was and all that stuff.
And Florida's kind of the opposite. Like there, you can only grow hemp legally if the state approves it, and there's like 2 or 3 state approved, and they're run by the state. And Florida peanut land is prime to grow hemp.
Hmm.
It is, the really loose, loamy soil is great for hemp. And it makes it easier to harvest. I mean, oh my gosh, yeah. Yeah, Marguerite, I get it. Man, what a crappy situation to be in. Said she was only told to avoid 3 states: Arkansas, Utah, and Mississippi, not Oklahoma. I gotta say that I personally might have checked every state that I had to go through.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you guys did wrong. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying that I am that anal about things. Like I have to know every time that I'm driving through every state that I drive through, whether or not I can have my firearm. And because those laws literally can change from week to week.
Right.
So, I have a way to track that through USCCA and the reciprocity app. Uh, and because of that, I check where I can and cannot carry. This would be kind of the same thing, yeah, I don't know.
Hmm.
See, Margarita, and please don't take this the wrong way. You said you guys had all the documentation that you were told that you needed to transport it, right? Um, trust but verify.
So, who told you that? That would be that's one of the questions I had. Was it the carrier, or a broker, or whoever got you the load that told you that?
Right. She
Yes,
said the question was asked to the shipper and the broker prior to pickup.
It says hemp-derived products moved by Fight Freight are still technically legal to haul through November this year. When Congress late last year reopened the government, the funding legislation also ordered a change in the quote-unquote loophole that allowed hemp-derived THCA products to proliferate. This coming November, without further congressional actions, the standards will be a big blow to the industry that's grown around these products.
Oh,
Hemp started our business, said Fides Wilcox. We do a lot of international shipments as well. Since congressional moves last fall, he added hemp is a smaller piece of the broker's business. Well, before the congressional change, owner-operators Barnes and Smith were working with dispatch, and they got notified of Fide freight load on the site posted on Selectus late March 2025. We had done a legal hemp load for them before. This one was running from California to North Carolina with some special instructions designed to guard against law enforcement unpredictability. The paperwork let us know to avoid 3 states: Arkansas, Mississippi, and Utah. Yet in El Reno, Oklahoma, Ebony Smith was behind the wheel when she was pulled over for following too closely, the officer said, and not maintaining the lane, which was it was very windy that day in Oklahoma.
right.
Other instructions in the paperwork: if we get pulled over, we're supposed to hand them the packet of paperwork, including the letter to law enforcement and the certificate of analysis, noting legality, she said, and that's what we did. From the roadside, sorry, my bad. They took everything, Smith said, including by extension the more than $2,000 the couple wouldn't make for the run. They were never paid by Fight Freight. Owner operators loaded their dog and themselves back in the van and took a few deep breaths and drove away. Absolutely no more hemp load, Smith noted at the time. Yet at once everything's good, we took a loss, keep moving and going about our daily lives. Nearly a year later, March 24th, 2026, Kenneth Barnes was solo in the van on his way to North Carolina, empty, to see his daughter. Following too close to him was the reason the Arkansas officer gave Barnes when he pulled over there. This time, that was a different wrinkle. You have a warrant out for your arrest. Are you serious? It turns out the owner-operator was now wanted for drug trafficking. By the end of March 2026, would be extradited from Arkansas jail to Canadian County, Oklahoma, where he remains. Ebony Smith, meanwhile, had been in contact with North Carolina-based attorney who she said represented the shipper of the load. She was working to file suit against the state of Oklahoma for the load seizure. In late summer 2025, Smith and Barnes both told the attorney their side of the story for the seizure. They said they were going to sue Oklahoma, Smith said, who asked, well, can we get paid for the miles we ran? No definitive answer came there, but the shipper's civil case was filed in September 2025 in federal court in the Western District of Oklahoma against local and state officials alleging violation of rights with the seizure of local legal products. It's played out in the many months since with a variety of procedural motions and amended complaints by the plaintiffs, likewise arguments by the state and local officials, defense attorneys, and motions to dismiss the case. According to the first amended complaint by the plaintiffs in early January this year, when law enforcement officials stopped Barnes and Smith's van, they issued no citation, made no arrest, filed no criminal charge, despite claiming to have discovered a large quantity of illegal marijuana, quote unquote. The complaint goes on to allege the omission was not accidental. That was the point, adding that the refusal to issue even a minor citation or initiate any criminal or forfeiture proceeding was calculated decision designed to prevent a judge from reviewing the legality of the stop, the existence of probable cause, or the constitutionality of the seizure. By releasing the driver without charge while retaining the property, officials defendants in the case ensured that no court would be asked to evaluate their actions.
Wow. It sounds like this was weird. Like, yeah. This is no good. Sorry, words are not my friend. Migraine's coming. It's coming quick, dude. Yeah, God, that sucks. Um, That's why I'm afraid to take hemp products. Like most of the hemp products that are out there that help reduce inflammation and things like that. They say, "Oh, it won't pop hot." I say, "Okay, can you show me something in writing that guarantees I'll never pop hot for your hemp product?" They're like, "No."
Well, remember, it was about 2 years ago that dude lost his CDL and sued one of those companies.
Mm-hmm.
And he won. So, you know.
Marguerite's saying lost her job because of it, and all the insurance lapse and everything. Yeah, that sucks, man.
Well, not only that, but Ebony, the wife, or I guess, then took a job at in the offices at HEB, and when the arrest was playing out in March, and seeing that she was distressed, her manager wondered what was going on. He pulled her aside into a safe space. She explained her fiance was locked up. The company reps were initially supportive, and at the end, they found out she had a warrant for her arrest too, and they did their own research. And then she was suspended from the position without pay, where she remains. So now they have no job.
That's crazy.
Huh.
That's crazy. Oh my god. Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know what to say. I mean, that's just a baffling story. Margarita's saying that's her in the story. Yeah. Wow.
I figured.
You know, good Lord. I wish we had like really smart words to say, and you know,
abracadabra.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
God, it just sucks. And again, I wasn't picking on you. I was just telling you.
If you have all the right paperwork and everything, I mean, how can they do that? You want to,
right? Well, I mean,
it's like the article said, the laws are in flux.
Right.
Yeah, but there was a law in place at the time that the shipment was happening. So if it's even if it's in flux, this is the law.
Yeah.
So.
Oklahoma, not my favorite place. Always said that. Yeah, 2 different people tried to kill me in Oklahoma. Different occasions. Just saying.
Margarita, take my number down from the little scrolling thing at the bottom and keep me informed on what's going on with this. I'd like to keep in touch and hear the updates.
Right. No, I dig the awareness, because I mean that's like a legitimate thing, and I don't understand the ban on hemp.
Well, here's something interesting. I had to look this up because I was at the Circle K today, right? And I told you about Charley.
Yeah.
5 truck parking spots, and somehow I got one, which was great. But anyway, so I'm leaving, and they've got this sign: "We sell THC infused beverages."
Right.
Now, marijuana is not legal in North Carolina for recreational. So I looked it up, and apparently the THC is derived directly from hemp. And it's distilled a certain way, and there's this loophole. Let me see if I can find it. There's a farm bill loophole that allowed hemp-derived Delta-9 THC.
That's what allowed them to be hauling this bill.
Yeah. Gummies, etc., to flood the market in states without recreational cannabis, including North Carolina. Circle K rolled out their product in South Carolina, North Carolina, and Florida in late 2025, with plans for wider distribution in 26, where allowed. But even with the loophole, there's so much per fluid ounce requirement to keep it under the legal limit for the THC. I just thought that was kind of interesting. I thought that the current administration was going to take THC off the bad boy list.
Well, they lowered it.
Okay.
But it's still technically illegal. It's still
controlled.
Controlled.
You know me, I'm not one of those guys that's going to go out and get a gummy or something, right?
I wish I could. I would.
I mean,
but if it's legal,
the bad thing about THC is that
legal, let's make it legal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Is that even if it's legal in your state, drivers can't partake. But I mean, just because it stays in your system for like 30 to 60 days or something like that. So
yeah,
even if you have smoked some or ate some gummies or whatever, just because it's in your system doesn't mean current impairment. So, I
Right.
mean, if you go on a bachelor, weekend or whatever with your best friend that's about to get married and, they're passing around a big fat one, and then you get pulled over, 2 weeks later,
Yep.
I mean,
Yeah.
that doesn't
And-
mean you're a
And with
bad
the laws
person.
being what they are, they can literally make you pee in a cup on the side of the road.
Right.
Right, exactly.
You are done for. No probable cause, just whim.
Well, and I was talking to some people about this the other day. Those laws for the commercial drivers, it's not that I don't get it. We can't have people high driving any more than we can have people drunk driving.
Right.
Right. And the argument that the law uses is, well, we can't tell what the concentration is.
Right. There's no test to see if you're actively
Right. So if
under
you
the
pissed
influence.
hot, you pissed hot. They don't know how much is in your system currently. But I was talking to a friend of mine that's a nurse, and she was saying that although it's more invasive, they can do it with a blood test.
So what we should do is we should have a meter where they can prick your finger like you do insulin test, and you drop
Right.
a spot of blood, and it can tell you,
that's
are you
enough,
currently
yeah.
impaired?
That'd be awesome.
I mean, full disclosure, Contractors Corner is not advocating the use of marijuana.
No, I'm not.
Right.
But it's an interesting legal thing.
Right.
Even in states where it's legal, most famously Colorado, that was the first one.
Mm-hmm.
If you hold a CDL, you cannot partake. But you can go get a hotel room and get plastered, wait 24 hours, and go drive.
Right.
Make it make sense.
And seriously, I mean, I'm not trying to advocate for smoking or anything, but I'm just saying I'd rather, and I don't want either on the road. I don't want anybody smoking or drinking on the road.
Right.
But you typically don't hear of people that are intoxicated with marijuana getting into accidents for
Right.
impaired judgment or speeding or what. Man, I'm going 14 miles an hour. We're going so fast.
And all they want to do is, Funyuns, man.
Yeah, I just want to go to the convenience store and get some munchies and go home or
Right.
whatever. So
Yeah,
I
they're
don't know.
not
I mean,
typically violent.
I just think that there's not enough heavy-handedness when it comes to the alcohol, because alcohol is seriously a judgment impairing and kills people every day.
Right.
But there's a little too much oversight on the marijuana. And marijuana, let me just preface this by saying I feel completely different about marijuana than I do about other narcotic drugs
Right.
and things like that are obviously system altering. But I mean, I've already seen, Dumb
I'm an
Dumber,
advocate
Beavis
for
and Butthead.
I will absolutely say I personally, Charlie Mann, am 100% behind the use of THC. I cannot use it, and that makes me angry. I know better than back in the day, I tried to drive high once when I was a young guy. You know what? I can't do it. So you know what I did? I didn't do it anymore.
That's right.
Right? I literally was like, my foot was like this on the pedals. Gas, brake. I can't make it be steady. It's just what it does to me, right? So I know people that can be high out of their gourd and drive like better than they do when they're not, right? But at the same time, I know not to do that. But on the other hand, I also know what the benefits are for someone like me and a lot of people in our industry. You look at the number of veterans in our industry, combat vets, people with different ailments and illnesses, where we have seen absolute good results that don't cause greasy anal discharge as a side effect or sudden death, right? As opposed to other, drugs, legal prescription medication that has 57,000 pages of possible side effects and downfalls and, lethargic behavior and things like that, and or sudden urge to kill oneself, right? Yet THC seems to alleviate a lot of the things that ail me: massive inflammation, arthritis, head to toe, chronic pain, insomnia, anxiety, right? You know, I take Zoloft for anxiety. Can't take Zoloft for depression. Same pill. If you're taking Zoloft for depression, you are disqualified. If you are taking Zoloft for anxiety, you are not disqualified automatically.
Right.
You know, put me on a 1-year card because of it.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Oh.
It wasn't the aneurysm that I currently have, mind you. Literally, the aneurysm wasn't even a factor in it, which I thought was completely crazy. Whatever. But, you know, I mean, granted, the doctors did say, you know, the aneurysm is fine right now, blah, 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 right? But they want me back in a year to make sure that the Zoloft stuff is still working the right way.
Right.
You know, and I have anxiety issues due to lots of reasons.
Did you guys have a hemp license? Because it says on the paperwork, must obtain compliant COA hemp license.
Yeah, she said you had the hemp license and some letter that she was supposed to have for law.
Yeah, and the COA, yeah.
And letter to law documents from the shipper before transporting, and send photos of paperwork. And I'm just reading all the BOL to Michael. Blah blah blah. Before departing, call Fight Freight with any questions or problems. Driver must abide by all traffic laws. Fight Freight is not responsible for any unlawful stops and seizures. Well, this wasn't unlawful. I mean, they had a reason. So are they responsible then?
Right. No, I dig you out there pushing awareness. I think awareness is important, especially on things like that. And the fact that, you know, I mean, these loads are, like you said, out there on load boards right now. And let's be real, a lot of people wouldn't even have done any of the due diligence that you attempted to get done.
Right.
So it's not an active warrant. This is what a passive warrant. So she goes through a traffic stops, you know, like where they're doing like roadside checks or something. They would get her. They would say you have a warrant for your arrest. And they would take her in, but they're not coming to her house and knocking on the door.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's something at least.
Yeah,
so she hasn't left her house. She stayed in the house with the lights off, doors locked, and under the covers.
Right.
Oh, yeah. I'm not here.
Be sitting in my house with my plate carrier on and
your little friend.
Yeah. You can go outside and yell at somebody for driving too fast in my neighborhood. I am that guy. Hey, I want to go to Mike's question real quick, if you guys don't mind. Mike Anderson said he's thinking about switching over to the percentage program. Charlie, how's it going? How is it going on it? It's been great for me. He said he's seen people post stuff, but it sounds like it's up and down. I believe that the up and down depends on people's understanding of how to use a load board in general, how to find lanes to properly run in, and understanding front haul and back haul markets.
Right.
You know, taking a load into Florida pays really well. I had one the other day that was $3.62 a mile. Coming out of Florida, not so great. Right. You could struggle to see $2. You know, I mean, back in the day, we actually saw freight coming out of Florida that was 78 cents. I mean, that's insanity. You know, Swift paid me at the time 85 cents a mile just to be empty and deadhead.
Right.
Yeah. You know, so Mike, I think as long as, and I actually know that you're smart enough to handle this and do the research and watch the lanes and build your lanes and, you know, analyze what you're seeing on the load board. And, you know, those things are going to change seasonally as well, how to utilize that. But on the West Coast, I think it's a little difficult. Rosie and I did see quite a bit of stuff running up and down I-5 corridor in different markets there with some decent rates. I don't know how long that was because we only looked like one day. Wasn't something I was researching long term at all. So I really can't answer that. Maybe, I don't know, reach out and see if we can find anybody who's out on the West Coast running load board percentage to get you some better information. I'm just not sure, honestly. Or maybe even reach out to one of the OOCs or someone that's actually running drivers that are running out in that area frequently. I know most of the people that I know in the OOC world are saying, "Look, man, the East Coast is the place to be."
Right.
Because we are seeing good
Beard's
rates.
running the majority of his loads in the Southeast.
Yeah.
And after everything's said and done, you say he's clearing 22 to 2,700 in a week. So, you know, it's, you know, I've been commenting a little bit based on what we've been talking to people, Charlie, on our group about it when people ask questions. And, you know, Charlie and I have figured out that if you're in a good lane, there's a couple choices you could make for yourself. You can work less and make about the same as you did OTR, or you can really hit it and make much more.
Right.
That seems to be because, you know, Craig and those guys, they're killing it.
Oh yeah.
And they've been helping you, Charlie, figure out how to actually look for loads, and they've helped you to
change my thinking,
change your thinking a little bit. And that's the key. You got to change your thinking on this stuff, guys. It's not like with OTR where, oh, I better just take every load,
right?
Because who knows? No, you're looking at a load board with rates that you can see, and you can make an intelligent decision.
Right.
You know, maybe you know, like Charlie, you did 360 going into Florida.
Yeah.
And next week when you go out, maybe all you can do is $2.
Right.
But a couple things here. Does it pay for the fuel to get back in on the lane where you know you can make money? And in this case, $2 is still better than the $1.80 that you're making on mileage right now.
Hey, Tim Greer is one of the terminals that has the ability to put their drivers on the program. Just saying.
I text you, Charlie.
Okay, thank you. Do I need to read it now?
No. It's just the paperwork for the hemp load. In case you want.
Oh, cool. Thank you. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, there is great stuff coming out or going in rather. Unfortunately, the dates got changed on me, so I ended up not getting it. So I ended up deadheading home from the Atlanta area, we'll call it Locust Grove. Almost had a great load. Oh my God. And then instead of it picking up and delivering Friday, they decided to move it to Saturday and maybe Sunday. And that could have turned into Tuesday because Monday everything was closed, right?
Right.
Ugh. I wasn't willing to roll those dice, so I just bailed out of it.
Here's an indication. Charlie, you took a little more time off this time at home than you normally do, like by a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So you started this whole load board thing in the red.
Oh, deep. So 3 weeks worth of fixed expenses when I started.
Are you in the black after running it for 1-2 weeks?
So the 5 days that I ran, I was $142 black.
After being 3 weeks in the rips.
After all expenses, 144, 142, 145, right around 140 something. How's that? I know I said I was going to run the real hard numbers, but I didn't do anything this weekend but veg. I'm thinking about doing maybe a monthly thing once I get in a groove, because like, again, I'm off for a week again. Oh, and I managed the couple days coming home, I managed to make enough on a couple loads that transferred into this week's settlement that covers the truck for the week.
Nice.
And puts like $200 in my pocket.
So
I'm
you're
gonna go
not,
ahead and dip, guys.
you're
Let
not
you have
so
the rest of the
stressed
show.
going into next week then.
I'm gonna dip out.
Hey, Jenny, love you.
Love you. I'm just gonna go ahead and go let you guys have the rest of the show. And I'm sorry getting a migraine, so hope you go get shot here in a minute and lay down or something.
Look, I got one.
I had one last night, and now, you know, when I get them, I just want a cold, dark, silent room and just leave me alone.
It's good stuff. Anyhow, thanks, Jenny, so much.
Thanks.
Jenny's information is scrolling across the bottom screen if you need to check her out. She does a lot of amazing stuff. She is very knowledgeable.
I am amazing.
Amazing, Jenny.
Thanks. I appreciate you guys very much.
Thank you, dear. Let's see. But yeah, Tim, I don't think that, or Mike, I think you would do really well on percentage because you are a dude that we know gets into numbers. You know, if you don't want to do the hard work, I would not do it. I don't think that it's for someone who's just starting out either.
Yeah.
I think you really need to understand your numbers. You need to have a solid understanding of freight lanes and how to figure out things like uh, front haul, back haul lanes, and understand what those mean and why they are what they are. So, yeah.
Oh, Tim. So on the scale tickets from T-calls not being reimbursed, you know what I did? I actually put the line item number. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head, but look in your contract, and I would put per schedule and list the schedule. T-call reimbursement for scales.
Right.
That way, it's documented that hey, this is contractual. You need to pay me.
Yep. Yeah, you can definitely push that one.
T-calls and anytime I would go into California was another one that I would get reimbursed for. I don't know. Some guys, their driver leaders somehow were able, Charlie, to process reimbursements for every time they scaled the truck.
Right.
Dana was one of those, well, your contract says.
Right, yeah.
Which I don't have a problem with that.
Blackbeard, that is a valid statement right there. I'll tell you that I'm working hard mentally on percentage and on cents per mile on a mileage contract. And yeah, you need to learn stuff.
So with that, Blackbeard, I'm wondering, do you feel more energized? You know, going into something new, figuring it out and all that stuff?
I can tell you it exhausted me and Rosie this first trip out.
Yeah, like one of the times I actually got Charlie to answer the phone, the conversation only lasted about 5 minutes because he was looking at the local where he's like, dude, I got to let you go. I got to figure this crap out.
Right. But, you know, I'm learning myself. I'm being, you know, assisted by Craig and Chris and that sort of thing. Right. And then I'm also trying to teach Rosie because honest to God, the 2 weeks that we were out or whatever, I don't remember how many days it was, right? I think it actually only ended up being, I think we left on Friday, returned on Friday. And we weren't supposed to be back till like Monday, but whatever. And neither one of us could get into a groove, but we also didn't work. We didn't pull anything where we had to team. It turned out due to weather and parking issues on several occasions that we actually had to start her log just so we could go, spend 3 hours trying to find a place to park because we weren't teaming. We've actually been able to spend a lot of time together in the front talking and enjoying each other and, you know, me picking on her like I do. Oh, look, there she is. And, you know, that sort of thing. And I can, so we only had like 1,503 miles on the first settlement. And I was able to get out of that 3-week hole and show $140 some odd profit after all expenses and fuel and everything on 1,500 miles. I mean, can you imagine what the possibilities were if I could actually get myself stacked with 5,000-6,000 miles in a week the way I used to work? Holy crap. I mean, that's a $15,000 or $12,000 gross with a really high net after that because the exponential nature of that system, it would, oh my gosh. I just don't want to work that hard. I'm trying to work less and make the same money we were. I'd like to make a little more than we were just because, but not much. And I can see, you know, if we can do 2,500 miles a week, bruh, we're solid for what we do. Blackbeard, getting back into the rhythm took a couple of weeks, but now a couple months in, I'm back in my rhythm. But yes, I'm more energetic than I was. Yeah. And you're using your brain more. Like that actually creates more energy. It can make you more tired up front. You know, my problem is I can't shut off the brain. The more I trigger the brain, the more it wants to go, woo. and learn more. So I really struggle with that. But no, man, I'm glad for you. Blackbeard was actually one of the people that really kind of pushed me in that direction. I was actually talking to him about it prior to Craig getting on the board. And Blackbeard and I was picking his brain, and he was telling me about loads. I was trying to figure out if there was a way that I could actually just work in Florida. Florida intrastate freight actually isn't bad money, and I could literally go home every night or every other night and drive very few miles for the week and make decent enough money. I just don't think that it's consistent enough for us to do that now. But it was pretty close, you know. So Blackbeard's really the one that got my brain going, maybe. And then with the whole Target closing or us losing that account and all that, and Craig, I actually shared with Craig before he got on that maybe this is something he really should check out, and encouraged that and helped him get on that program. And then he just took off, man. That guy became Professor Craigio, right? I mean, he is a beast, man. He is so deep into looking at that stuff that I love it. And, you know, then we got Chris in, and, you know, he's, oh my gosh, pig and slop, that guy, right? He is so pleased by that whole system. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think that someone like Mike Henderson, I think, Tim, you could probably do pretty well at it. But understand that you're going to have a learning curve, and you're going to need to build maybe a couple different relationships than you might already have.
Right.
That's where I'm struggling right now. I don't have those relationships any longer out there in that world. Right. So I really am kind of going at this on my own, other than the support system I have from Craig and people like that. So that's what I got to say about that. Hope that's good answers for you. Yeah, this is Craig right here. He can almost tell you what's coming out of what areas on the exact days. He studies these lanes. He knows what customers are doing what when, pretty much. With the lanes that I ran, I spoke to the shippers and receivers. I was like, hey, are these like everyday loads, every other day loads, once a week? And was looking at that, and I'm like, these are pretty fairly regular loads. So I did not mind the stuff that we ran. So I'm thinking that, we could very easily do something very similar, running the same types of lanes or same areas, and do really well.
No, Pennsylvania.
Rosie didn't like Pennsylvania, but you know what? I don't want to be there in the winter, but it was beautiful. We literally drove through the Gettysburg Battleground. US 30 runs right through the middle of it, and that was cool. It's only the second time I ever did it.
And you got to stop at south of the border.
Yeah, we stayed at south of the border because that's so much fun. Not a great truck parking place, I'm just saying, but it is what it is.
Park under the light.
Yeah, park under the light. It'll be fine. Yeah, they're selling a lot of that place off, Jeff. Apparently, the guy that owns most of it. Yeah, apparently he's been selling stuff left and right. Learned that from one of the girls that worked there.
Don't worry about stacking.
Mike, get with Craig, man. Seriously, I think he could give you enough of a look, especially if you're moving to Virginia. I'm telling you, that is a prime location. There is so much going in, through, and around Virginia that it made my head spin. And some of it pays well, and some of it's garbage. It just depends.
Yeah,
where
didn't you see one on the board today when you were looking that was like $15?
Yeah, that was like Decatur, Georgia. It was T-called already, going to Stone Mountain. I mean, it's only a few miles, but it's a live unload, and it's 45,000 pounds, and it's paying like $29.
Yeah, that's
literally not worth the time. I mean, it's literally, and factually and actually, not worth the time involved. It's just not. Unless your time is only valued at, $5 an hour. I don't know. My lungs are messing with me. My migraine's here. Jeff, we're only 9 minutes early. I'm gonna bounce this. You good with that?
Yep.
Tim, Mike's asking what part of Virginia. He's in the Lynchburg area. Yeah. Oh, that's another thing. Craig was saying they'll even send you a load as a pre-plan so you can see the rate if they don't see it. Yeah, I haven't seen any that didn't have a rate on them, but whatever. And I had a bunch of plans sent to me, most of which were okay.
Right.
When I saw the mileage rates, in fact, some of them were, I think, the best load I was sent was actually sent to me as a pre-plan, not one I picked. So that was, yeah. All right, we're gonna call this a wrap, I think. Mike,
guys.
get with Craig.
Yep. All right, guys, keep that rubber side down, and remember, with no action, there is no traction. So get on after it.
Yep. Remember, look after each other, everybody. Nobody's out here looking after us but us. We'll see you next Tuesday, maybe. Yeah, I should be heading out on the road by Monday. That's the goal. We'll see what happens, and if so, I don't know. We'll try and work some things out. While I'm on the road, it's a little trickier for me to actually build all this stuff in the background. But we're going to try and work some things out so it's a little bit more flow, like pre-building some of my thumbnails and things like that, so I can just drop things in without having to be all crazy about it. Anyhow, not stuff you care about. We'll see you guys next Tuesday, hopefully at 6 p.m. Eastern time, and if not, we'll let you know when. Y'all be careful.